Jonas, am I on? All right, 5 o'clock, we have a quorum. Nicole's gone, but everyone else is here. And we will start by a pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have minutes from the previous meeting of August 8th. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the August 8th school board meetings.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes from the August 8th meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have an agenda. There's a green agenda in front of you with a couple of changes. Pulling a policy item to work on later. And I think some other changes or things that are removed. And then we added the Tyler Garrison report. So I'd like a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Any discussion?
I believe that Mari said she had a CR report.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor of approving the agenda as amended, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, agenda is approved. We will start with Tyler Garrison's report. Tyler?
Good evening, everybody. Just here to give you an update on some of the larger projects that have been going on this summer. As you know, we've had quite a few going on again this year. I won't bore you with the big list I usually give you of everything. We're just going to touch base on the bigger projects. The spectator entrance into the gymnasium, we are getting closer with this project. We're waiting for railings as one of the main things that we need on this project to use it. I've been told Monday now. So hopefully next Monday they can start getting the railings in. And then they'll be doing a lot of signage stuff yet on the outside of the building. On the front of that canopy that you guys see will be some nice signage as well. That may take a little bit longer for that signage. We had to do some refinagling with that, and but all the other signage should be up next week, hopefully. Athletic field project is coming along great. I just talked to the lead contractor on that today. We should be finalized by the end of next week on that whole thing. With the fencing getting completed and some finished work on the arch with paint and backfilling of the areas and reseeding. So we will be ready for football. Tennis court project, as you know, we were going to fill cracks, resurface them courts. There was some hiccups with that project, but I was able to get somebody else in here to repair the cracks here last week. With those hiccups, it kind of hit me about a month and a half ago, and was able to find somebody to do the cracks. So it's very playable, it's safe, and then we'll regroup. As you know, the cracks are getting larger. The courts are starting to settle, so we are doing what we can to prolong the life as long as we can before we have to redo the base and everything in that area. Track project, they are currently out there starting today in the heat. Working on that project, they should be done by Saturday. As you remember, that's a resurface. It's not a replace, it's a resurface with new material being added to the top and thin areas and then resealed. And then that'll be repainted. That just prolongs the life of the track so that we're not replacing it so often. Recommended at 10 years. I think we're pushing 9 on that track. So softball field house, we've been waiting and waiting. We waited for state review of the plans. We had to wait with some city items, but now we are good to go. I met with the contractor today, and they will start digging Monday. So you will see that project probably move pretty quickly. It's not a big building, but very excited to see that one get going. As I think reported in the past, we replaced some interior spectator entrance steps to that new gymnasium. We wrapped them all with rubber, so that looks nice. We replaced a new floor here in one of the classrooms at the elementary. New goalposts have been put up at the football field. High school office remodel is complete. That was a little remodel just to make the flow a little bit better in there, and also adding a service window in the front. Service window was promised this week. Their guys are all, Fairmont Glasses guys are all out of town, so we've been promised they'll be installed this week yet. So west side outdoor space here at the elementary has been poured. If you see an archway out there with colored concrete, they have to do another seal coat on that. And then we'll be adding some concrete seating around in that arch and some bushes, just to make things more appealing to that side and for use for the kids waiting for buses or classroom space outdoor. We'll be doing one on the north side as well. I was told beginning of this week, but with the heat, it'll probably be towards the end of the week with that pour on that concrete. CTE building, we continue to have a punch list. Been very frustrated with this part, but we have had some contractors back this week. We've pulled a lot of, I think we had like 10 cement panels on the exterior on the walks, have been pulled, repoured, things like that we want to get finalized. We've been promised before school starts. I am seeing contractors come back this week, so we're hoping to wrap that up. Elementary heating loop, we had some issues this winter with heating. We've drained 7,500 gallons out of our heating loop. We've hauled that away properly through a company. We've refilled the glycol system, and we also replaced multiple huge valves that did not work this winter when we tried to isolate areas. So that should be all up, and it is currently running now to get the air out of the system, and not that we're heating the building, but we're running. 2 new overhead doors were added to the track baseball storage shed. The elementary kitchen, we've added new serving lines. They came in last week. Our electrician on staff did all the wiring. We've got them in place, ready to go. Some of you may have heard we had a little hiccup this summer twice. We had our freezer go down at the high school, and there's lots of food in that big freezer. We had to empty it twice. One was a bad compressor and one was a bad sensor. So excitement added to our summer. Painting, we painted 13 rooms or spaces throughout the district this summer. The new scoreboard that was added at the football field last year, our electrician on staff rewired everything with new disconnect and all the controls under that. We've had multiple plumbing activities going on in both buildings with some repairs of drain pipes. We're starting to see a little bit more and more leaks with our drains in our bathrooms. Harbo's Plumbing did a lot of that and are currently still working on some of those. Other than that, that's all I have. That's just some of the bigger items going on, and just wanted to fill you in on where they're at. So, any questions?
Question, the project at the high school gymnasium. Now, is that going to impact our fall sports program, volleyball and that?
It'll affect volleyball a little bit. I'm working with Matt right now on, we're going to use a different entry for them to come in. And so we have the proper exits and things needed. So luckily, volleyball isn't a big drawer of people, but we definitely want to get it. I've been on them to get the railings in so we can, yeah.
Well, sometimes it's a supply issue and you can't help that, but I'm just curious for
Yep.
the public's sake to be
Yep.
aware.
Yep. It'll still be accessible, so, yep. Any other questions?
All right, thanks, Tyler, appreciate it.
Okay.
Superintendent's report.
All right, so as we typically do, last meeting, I was pleased to announce that our preliminary registration numbers are up, but also let everyone know that as As we get entry withdrawal forms from neighboring districts and students that have moved, that can ebb and flow up to our official count date in the month of October. So from 2 weeks ago, after that initial period, we're still at 1,770 students, which is definitely up from where we ended the school year, but a few students lower than what we were at the day after. Additionally, we've added more preschool enrollees, so that's been a good thing from the last couple weeks. So always glad to see those numbers strong as they currently are for our school district. Just one quick note on strategic planning. Following the August 8th meeting, we had a work session, talked mostly board governance, as all of you know that we're here, and we'll continue to work with our facilitator, Dr. Ray Queener, on finalizing some components with that plan. It will be presented to our entire staff 1 week from yesterday on Monday, August 28th, as all of our staff come back for our opening session in the Performing Arts Center at the junior-senior high school. On Friday, August 14th, we also launched enrollment for our Cardinal Prime before and after school program. That will be the inaugural year of that. Just a reminder, we are using federal ESSER relief funds to fund that program for this year. So in the pilot year, we'll be able to use those funds for both staffing, supplies, materials, and operational expenses. We had all of our spots were filled within 2 hours.
How many spots?
And we had 60 spots based on the amount of staffing that we had. We're hoping to expand that as the school year has drawn closer. John Barcher, who will be running that program, has had additional community members reach out to him wondering about working those times. So we have 40 people currently on the waiting list, and we're hoping to allow more people in once staffing is confirmed and expanded. But we did base our initial number on the number of staff so we could keep our ratios at a reasonable amount. Open Door Health Center update, just yesterday afternoon, I received notice from our school's legal representative who had provided review and comment. That commented memorandum of agreement is on my desk right now. We'll spend time reviewing that in the morning and have a call set up with them at 2 p.m. to review their recommendations for adjustments to that. Once they are made, I'll be sharing it with the full board for your review for additional discussion at a future operations committee meeting. Upcoming school events tomorrow, our 7th grade will have their orientation. So that's an exciting program that was started a couple years ago that we're glad to continue for our incoming 7th graders to the junior senior high school to have the opportunity to gain some experience in the building before all 895 kids return the first week of September. And then tomorrow evening, it was just announced an hour or so ago that our activities fair has been moved inside to the gymnasium at Fairmont Junior Senior High School. So all of our activities will still be on showcase. Students, captains, coaches will be sharing over the PA system a little bit about their program during that time. And then the Pep Fest has been canceled for tomorrow evening. Next board meeting will be right here on Tuesday, September 12th with the new start time effective in September. We'll start at 5:15 beginning the month of September with our board meetings. And that concludes my report.
All right, thanks, Andy. All right, donations. Dan.
We have a resolution in Appendix A. As provided by Minnesota statutes, the Martin County Youth Foundation has offered a donation of $2,310 with a designated purpose to be in support of Fairmont weightlifting. I move that the Fairmont Area School Board gratefully accept that gift.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I think this is roll call. Dan?
Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Aye.
The chair votes aye.
I forget we have student members now. I was like, okay, we got a couple more over here.
Julie?
Aye.
Ari?
Aye.
Jen?
Aye.
All right, motion carries unanimously. All right, new business, student handbooks.
Financial reports.
Oh, I'm sorry, I crossed it off in a hurry. I apologize. Financial reports, Jessica.
Yes, so you have the pretty short list of the wires this time around, and there's nothing out of the ordinary on those, or normal recurring transfers out of our bank account. And then there are two payment registers that you should have in your packets. One is for fiscal year 23 payments yet, and the other one is for fiscal year 24. So on the one labeled fiscal year 23, again, most of these are our normal recurring monthly payments, but as Tyler had alluded to, there are a couple of our payments here for the vocational building. There's one to a JD driver, which is check number 68836 for about $65,990. And then along with that, there's a check for Prime Construction Solutions in the amount of $14,250. On the fiscal year 24 payment register, as Tyler again had talked about, we had some testing that needed to be completed for the projects. And so there was check number 68843 to American Engineering Testing in the amount of $7,936.30. And that's all the ones that I have for that. Do you have any questions on any of the other payments?
If there are no questions, I would make a motion to approve the wire transfers for August 3rd, 2023 to August 16th, 2023, and payment of the August 22, 2023 bills.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The bills are approved. Now we'll move on to the student handbook. Are we doing a brief presentation on the changes that are desired? I think that's probably appropriate.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Superintendent Trado, thank you for hearing from the high school tonight. You have my changes in front of you. The highlighted are areas that have been, either the words have been changed or added to the handbook. Biggest changes this year, one is the end time of school, which is now 3:11 versus 3:04. This was done by adding 1 minute to each period of the day. This was work done between the busing company and the elementary to help the busing company get over to us before dismissing the students, making it safer for students to be waiting for the bus. We also developed an advisory schedule, which can be used throughout the year by our guidance department, our social workers, and provide SEL, social emotional learning, as well as keeping up on PLPs, which we're bound by state statute to keep up to date. As far as the handbook language itself, there was some language that was eliminated from the health center. The illness at school, making sure students check in with the nurse before they're cleared to go home has been added. Dress code, belly button was added as a area that had to be covered, but we also added robes and flags worn as accessories, heavy coats, or anything else deemed inappropriate by administration, just to help tighten up our policy on that. Nuisance devices or nuisance items also include blankets and flags. This is mostly due to fire hazard if needing to evacuate a room quickly, not getting snagged. Cell phone policy changes there were just to clarify how that has gone and the practices that we have already implemented. And then as far as tardies of unexcused and excused tardies, those numbers reflect the current practice of our social workers when they're putting students on behavioral contract and referring to the county for truancy. Lastly, I think the biggest change in how we operate will be tardies. For every third tardy of the quarter, a student may receive an office referral. This practice is to help tighten up our attendance in the classroom, try to limit the amount of bathroom usage for passing periods, and really the first time that after 3 is just a conversation with students, that the student support team has developed a plan in order to reach those kids every day. And, we do expect to meet with a large handful of kids to start. And so we've developed a plan to make sure that we can have that communication before starting to hand out disciplinary action so that students are fully aware of their expectations. Any questions on any changes to the handbook?
If no one has any questions, I will need a motion to approve the recommended changes.
I will make a motion to approve the 2023-2024 student handbook for Fairmont Elementary and Fairmont Junior Senior High School.
I'll second it.
And a second.
Elementary still needs to share their changes.
Oh, sorry.
All right, thank you.
How about we'll do one at a time. We'll do the high school one
There
first.
we go. All right.
So the motion is to approve the recommended high school changes.
Correct.
And that's the second.
I'll second.
All right. And so any discussion? It's your chance. Student comment? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Same sign. All right, motion carries. And now we will hear for an even briefer presentation. No. From the elementary principals.
Yes, we will be super brief. We only have 3 real changes in our handbook this year. Page 1, you will see the personnel in our building has changed. We added another dean of students to our building, so making sure that people know who to connect with, both early childhood through 6th grade. So just having that's probably one of our bigger changes.
Yep. And then on page 4, we just had lunch visitors. It's now family members. If they check in the office first, they can have lunch with their students at lunch like they've done pre-COVID. And so now that is opened up again.
And the last one is just pick up and drop off. We realized that preschool wasn't in it last year, so we wanted to make sure they were added into our handbook, where they're dropped off and picked up so parents can read that. And also with Prime, like Mr. Trado brought up, where drop off and pick up for Prime is, because that will be very different for the parents. And just so parents that are listening, if you're using Prime, it's going to be using the back part of the building, so you won't get caught up in some of that morning drop traffic and afternoon traffic. But there are specific times that you need to drop off by, and you cannot pick up earlier then. So if they're in that program, they just need to read that and communicate with us if they're having any issues with the drop off and pick up. So those are our main changes.
Yep. And there's a map and a link to a explanation for pickup and drop off within the handbook.
Has Mr. Garrison gotten you some fancy signs for the Prime location?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. He could add it to his list and it seemed. He had room on his paper for more things on his list, so.
So Mrs. Rosen and I have talked about that a little bit, but we have not
Okay.
formally requested anything as of now.
It's new for everybody, so I'm sure there'll be a little bit of growing pains at first. All right, any other questions for the team? All right, we'll need a motion to approve the recommended elementary school changes.
All right, I will make a motion to approve the elementary student handbook for the 2023-2024 school year.
I'll second it again.
And there's a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. We have to approve a memorandum of understanding between the district and Education Minnesota Fairmont.
Correct.
We need to do this in order to add 2 coaching positions to support the United Cardinals program that we have. And if we have anybody has questions about what the United Cardinals program is, Andy, I'm sure can answer that. But I will make a motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding between the district and Education Minnesota Fairmont to add these 2 coaching positions.
I'll second it.
All right, second. Any discussion on the motion?
Just add a really brief description. So Unified Cardinals is also a partnership with Special Olympics Minnesota, and there are certain criteria that we have to meet as a school district to be considered a unified champion school. And so once those criteria are met, then we are able to achieve that status, and definitely excited for this expansion and these opportunities for our students. I know at least one of our student school board members has been a part of those activities. Do you want to add anything to your experiences, Abby, and just what things you've been involved with it really quick?
So I know that we did a lot of stuff with Mr. Hernandez. He did a lot of stuff in his classroom. And then we were also able to take that to, we went up, was it up in the cities somewhere?
Yep.
We were able to, I know they took a basketball team, but I was able to be on the soccer team. And so we played 3 or 4 games up in the cities, and it was just a really cool experience. And I think it benefited a lot of people in the school.
Yeah, absolutely.
And these coaching positions are for multiple sports.
Correct.
So,
Yep. Correct. And for organizing and hosting events such as the polar plunge that we've hosted at the school,
Okay.
as well as other unified events as well.
I didn't realize though, was that a unified event last year, or it's going to be going forward?
That will be considered one of our all-school events.
Okay.
That is one of the criteria. You have to host a certain number of all-school events to be considered a unified champion school. And so that's one of the events that will be a part of that. But yes, it is adjacent to the Unified Cardinals program.
All right. Any more discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Excellent. All right. Activities and mission fees. Dan?
At our Operations Committee meeting last Monday, we reviewed the prices for individual and season-long admissions to Fairmont High School activities. We recommended that no changes be made. Students will continue to be able to attend events for free. Adults $7 and senior citizens $5 per event. And senior citizen age is age 60 plus. And season passes will continue to be available for adults for $100 and senior citizens for $55. So I move to approve the admission fees as stated in Appendix E.
I'll second it.
And there's a second. A first and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Dan? All right, Jessica, we have some food service agreements we need to review and approve.
Yes, also at Operations Committee, we had the food service agreements that we discussed for the 3 joint sites we have, which are Southern Plains, St. John Vianney School, and St. Paul Lutheran School. The most notable changes are that we're adding the breakfast service to both St. John Vianney and St. Paul. That's to comply with the requirements of the universal free meals, is that in order to get free meals, you must serve the free breakfast. So we will add the breakfast service to their agreements. We're not providing a staff person to serve those in the morning. Right now, they'll just be the cold breakfast. Southern Plains already had breakfast. And then the other items that we have also discussed with all of the different sites and they are in agreement with is we will have them pay their food service license fee themselves rather than the school, Fairmont area school is paying for that. And we're also implementing a 25-cent per meal administrative fee that we will charge to them. So.
All right, a motion to approve. They're all the same agreement, correct?
Correct.
So we need a motion to approve just one for all 3.
I'll make a motion to approve the food service agreements with Fairmont area schools and Southern Plains Educational Cooperative, St. John Vianney, and St. Paul Lutheran Schools.
I'll second.
All right, having a first and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. All right, policy updates and approvals. Julie?
Yes, we had a policy meeting, the 15th, I believe it was, and we got a long list of policies that we will be going forward through, that were some state legislation changes that impacted those policy changes, so it'll be a process to go through all those. For tonight's meeting, all the ones that we are offering for approval tonight are ones that had very minor changes. Policy 102, we are going to pull that one from the agenda, and we'll pull that back and we'll do more evaluation on that. But otherwise, 418, drug-free workplace and drug-free school. Policy 419, tobacco-free environment. Policy 424, license status. Policy 425, staff development. Policy 507, corporal punishment and prone restraint. And Policy 721, uniform grant guidance policy regarding Federal Reserve's revenue sources, So really, there is not a lot of major changes in those policies, some clarifications, some wording changes, all it was. So I will make a motion to approve those policies as I mentioned, so.
I'll second.
All right, having a first and a second. Any discussion on the policy, or the motion to approve the policy changes? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the policies as updated, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, thank you, Julie. We have personnel matter. Jen?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve increasing the school electrician wage at the rate approved by the Operations Committee on August 14th, 2023.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Jen and Mari. All right, we have a first and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Operations Committee report update, Dan?
Well, last Monday, we did go over many of the items that were acted on here tonight, including the food service agreements, the student participation fees, and activities admission fees. We continue to work on a simplification of our facilities rental schedule, which currently has a lot of nooks and crannies in it. We're going to try to get that a little bit easier to understand for everyone involved, and we're going to have a future discussion with our CER director to figure out which will be the better ways to go about this. We also discussed the lease agreement for our Hunt farmland, and we are likely to, I'd say, go ahead and put that out for public bid here, but that hasn't been determined for sure. It is done periodically, and I think it is likely to come up again. We had discussion about the electrician's wage that we just passed. We had the update from Tyler about the buildings and grounds project, which is was considerably more in detail and longer than the one we went through here tonight. We also looked at a future replacement for a trailer. The band trailer currently has been on the road quite a bit and maybe needing replacement soon. So we're looking at possibilities of something that would work for all activities throughout the year. That would look really sharp as well to kind of advertise the Fairmont Cardinals whenever we hit the road for various events, sports, band, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you, Dan. Policy Committee, Julie?
Yes, like I mentioned before, we have a lot of policies that we're going through, and so we do annually review each policy as needed. Certain policies are done annually, some are done every biannually, some are done, just as needed. And there has been a lot of policies that were impacted by legislative changes this past season. And so we will have next coming month, I know in September, we'll be meeting twice that month, possibly maybe even October, to see if we can get kind of caught up. Some of these policies, we are reaching out to other members of the administrative staff for their input and that before we do enact or how we should enact or how they would impact our students. And so basically that's all it is. So
Thanks, Julie. CER meeting update, Mari?
As Andy said, Cardinal Prime filled up quickly. There's still some early morning before school slots that are available. The new elementary cross-country program started this week with 22 students enrolled. Flag football starts September 5th with 7 teams from Fairmont and 2 teams from MCW. The new brochure is in the web store. Please check that out. They're offering some new things online. Upcoming registration deadlines are for baton twirling, tiny tot sports, camp, and archery 1 and 2. And they're always looking for new instructors to offer different items, so.
Excellent. Thanks, Mari. All right, that concludes our business. Can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
All right, all in favor of the motion to adjourn?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Wow.